to talk about the issues at hand. One of them obviously has to do with Northeast Fresno, Wawa, water, agua, brown in some regions of your house, possibly out in that neck of the woods. Also, too, what Steve Brandow talked about yesterday in our first hour, this proposal that's basically to weed out the slumlords in town and these apartment complexes, coming from the mayor, that would have, as we understand it, every single apartment dwelling inside and out in the city of Fresno. There's like 6,000 units or something like that. I don't know if that's right. That's what Brandow says. I have to hear this from the mayor herself to get a further understanding on what this means. And it'll be about 12:15 by the time they get in here. And they'll spend 30, 40 minutes with us, so plenty of time to get through this stuff. This is a good one. There was a life insurance policy taken out on the San Bernardino terrorist, Saeed Farouk. We've talked about this before. It was in question. Where's that money going to go? It was $275,000, right? And he named his mother as the beneficiary. They ain't getting that money. No. Instead of going to Rafia Farouk, the money has been deposited with the court clerk, where it's going to be held until further orders. This money will be subject to government seizure. They've already seized it, but where it will go after that, a federal judge he's already ruled that the government can take the money. As to where it will go, we don't know thoroughly yet. This was the Los Angeles U.S. Attorney's Office. It's the civil asset forfeiture lawsuit that the government wanted to use this insurance money for the surviving victims of the attack and the family members of those who died. That would be right. That would be a very honorable thing. That would be righteous payback to take the 275,000 clams, and divvy it up against the victims. We'll let them have it. So in June, the Minnesota Life Insurance Company alleged in a federal lawsuit that Rafia Farouk knew of her son's attack plans. She was aware of it. Therefore, she is not legally entitled to the $275,000 in benefits. She was the prime, as I said, beneficiary for a couple of policies totaling 275,000 Gs. So the judge's order in the forfeiture case did not address the insurance company's lawsuit claim that Rafia Farouk knew of the attack. All right, that's separate from this, but that's what the insurance company is alleging. They certainly don't want to pay out the money to her. And if they can document that she knew that, they've got a great case. But the judge has seized the money anyway. So it's kind of a double whammy for them. She lived in the Redlands apartment with her son, who I think was about 28 at the time. At the time of the December the 2nd attack in the Inland Regional Center, where 14 people were killed, 22 were wounded, and as you know, they both died, husband and wife, in that shootout with law enforcement later in the same day. So that was some worry when this first came up a few months ago. Where's that money going to go? And if the government has its way, it looks like it will go to the victims and the families of those who lost loved ones. And that's the right thing to do. Does anybody don't see that as the right thing to do? I can't imagine. 490-5858 if you have another opinion of where that money should go. But certainly I think we're all in agreement it shouldn't go to the family, right? Yeah. Never. I mean, that would set a dangerous precedent. All of a sudden you'd have these, suicide terrorists making their families rich with all these American life insurance policies they have for blowing themselves up and killing a bunch of us at the same time. You see? I mean, they would take to that like a fish on a hook. Now, yesterday I had a little story about Claremont colleges. I just ran it by briefly because it was so stupid. There were some non-white students in the Claremont school system there, university system, that were posting ads on Facebook for roommates, and they wanted non-white roommates. And the reasons were they didn't want to be subjected to white privilege 24/7. There is hate manifested just by being white. We don't want to live with hate. I mean, this was just god-awful, terrible, racist stuff. And I don't care how you slice it. It was racist. Well, it's reverse racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. Racism is racism, whether it's, white on black or black on white or whatever. So the Liberal Arts College, which is near L.A., all of the brass, the administrators, they came down hard on these students. They denounced them. At least they did something right. The Claremont Independent is reporting that the college student who did this, who started this whole ball rolling, his name is Kare Arena. He asked the Post that people only of color apply to live in her off-campus residence, adding that she didn't want to live with any white folks, and for all the other reasons I gave there. So the president called the Post inconsistent with our mission and values. He says the college wants to engage in complex intercultural issues, not isolate individuals on the basis of any protected status, which is legalese in the long way to say this was just stupid and wrong. So the Washington Post is now reporting that a roommate was found. The Post has been removed. But, of course, this individual and her mother are defending it, saying that, living with people of color is a necessity in their life, and they can live with who they want. That's fine, but the reasons given were certainly racist. There's no doubt about it. Getting back to the life insurance issue, Greg, you're on KMJ. What's going on?
Hey, Ray, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm fine.
Hey, I spent some time in the insurance business, about 23 years, and if you look at the exclusions on a life insurance policy, technically, in the act of war, a felony, an act of crime, suicide, the insurance company, and there's more, but the insurance company does not have to pay out the benefits.
Yeah.
Now, if they did, I would agree that it should be spread out among and technically, if Minnesota Life or whoever the life insurance company was says, no, this guy was committing a crime and we're not paying, guess what? They don't have to pay.
So they could have held on to the money, even though they didn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the $275,000 is now has been seized by the courts, and I don't know. I don't have the whole story on this. I don't know if it was going to his mother or not. I doubt it, because they were also suing on that separate issue of her mother having their mother having knowledge of this. Therefore, she's not entitled to the money. So I think their heart is also with giving it to the victim's family. If we can read between the lines on that.
Yeah, if you have a life insurance policy, pull it out, look at the exclusions, and it's pretty clear.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, though, that they didn't have to pay it at all in the first place, period.
That's
End
correct.
of statement. They can hold on to the money for themselves, and that's that. And that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Well, have a blessed day. I'm heading to Avila. Bye-bye.
Oh, you lucky dog. God. Have fun.
Bye-bye.
Have fun. I haven't been to Avila in about 4 years, and I used to live over there like every other weekend. Bad, Ray. Bad. Anybody want to go to the Inn at Avila Beach? On me? Yeah, like I'm so rich I can afford maybe a room and a half. I'm going to do some promotion and take some winners over there. You know what I mean? You know what? Let's do that. I haven't done something like that in years. I used to do that fun stuff all the time. I guarantee you, we're going to wait till the tourist season is over. So in the fall of 2016, we will do a Ray Appleton listener-only contest where a bunch of us go to Avila for the weekend on the house. Done deal. I see that Michael is including himself because he's the producer of this show. He's going, yeah, we'll go. Oh, you're going to drive? Good, because I hate driving long distances. I have that new Acura, so you can, no problem. 2016 MDX, you'll like that. Oh. So does that sound like a good idea? I'll put it together. We'll take, 4 or 5 couples over, and I'll make sure that the station buys us all dinner somewhere out there on the boardwalk. I have that power. How will we give those trips away? I don't know. I'll think of something creative rather than just a simple drawing. There would only be one restriction that I can even think of, and that's you got to be 21 or over, obviously, for alcoholic beverage reasons and things like that, even though I don't imbibe much anymore. I had a cocktail last night, my son's birthday, and it was like, just had one drink, and I'm like, oh, get me out of here now. A little woozy. All right, we're going to break a little bit early here. So in case the mayor does show up on time, which would be a first, Ashley, I love you, we'll be ready to go. And we'll get to it. And also, Facebook, we're there. We're on Facebook Live at the KMJ Now Facebook page. And you'll be able to see Ashley Swearengin and the Public Utility Director, Tommy Escueda, rhymes with tomato. He's coming in as well, too. And that'll all be firing up shortly at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ and the Ray Appleton program. Now, to pay the bills, and we'll return.
Sunworks is helping Valley farmers and ranchers break free from high energy costs. John York here to tell you that Sunworks is the real deal. Anything you run on your farm or ranch, like deep well pumps, run exactly the same on solar power. Start seeing a return on your investment in as little as 2 years. And right now, take advantage of a 30% federal tax credit. Call Sunworks at 559-821-1414. Again, 559-821-1414.
Growlers, this Saturday at Chukchansi Park, there will be special appearances from your favorite baseball superstars. Come see Cal Ripken Jr., Bear Bonds, Roger Clemens, Ken Giraffe Jr., and more favorites. Plan on a fun and entertaining night with one of the most popular traveling acts in all of sports. Presented by A+ Signs. Also on Saturday, in honor of our military, the Grizzlies will wear alternate black and camo sleeve jerseys for the last time this season. Jerseys will be auctioned after the game. Come out Saturday, Grizzly fans. Go to FresnoGrizzlies.com for more info.
What can I say that I haven't said in the last 20 years in talking to you about Realty Concepts? This company has always been on the move, and now it's quite literally as they are growing again. And while I speak, they are wrapping up construction on a brand new state-of-the-art hub in Northeast Fresno. It was a long time ago when John Shamshoyan, the owner of Realty Concepts, was standing in the KMJ offices thinking about making the shift out of newspaper into radio. Something that just wasn't done back then. And I was like, hey, nice to meet you. By the way, would you like to sell my house? And look what happened. They sold the house, lickety-split, and I've been talking about them ever since on KMJ and elsewhere. And we have done many transactions over the years, and Realty Concepts has grown into this massive local real estate giant. The vision has always been clear. Quality before quantity. Service before sales. People before profits. You before them. Buying or selling? One call. 490-1500. Facebook, Instagram, click realtyconcepts.com. Real estate the right way.
Did you know that by simply sticking a shovel in the ground, you're at risk of a life-threatening injury? You could also knock out vital utility services to your entire neighborhood and be subject to heavy fines and costly repairs. But there's a simple way to be sure you're digging safe. Contact 811 before you dig. As part of National 811 Day on August 11th, Dig Alert and USA North 811 urge you to click or call 811 before you pick up a shovel. Digging at any depth anywhere in your property can seriously damage gas, electric, communications, water, and sewer lines. Whether you're installing a mailbox or a 12-foot deep pool, one click or call could save your life. It's fast and free. Contact 811 at least 2 working days before any digging project. An 811 representative will notify your local utilities. That'll come out and mark buried lines that they own and maintain, ensuring safety of yourself, your family, and your community. Know what's below. Contact 811 before you dig. Brought to you by Dig Alert and USA North 811.
If you've been thinking of a piano or digital piano, this is the time to save. Fresno Piano Gallery is liquidating over 100 pre-owned pianos with prices starting as low as $75. The store and warehouse are packed with recent trade-ins, rental returns, consignments, and pianos formerly displayed in model homes. Save like never before on brands like Yamaha, Steinway, Kawai, Baldwin, Kimball, and many more. In addition, this fall, Yamaha will be introducing the new Disclavier and Spire reproducing player piano, so all current models are clearance priced. These are the most remarkable player pianos that even play through the internet and have the ability to stream live performances directly to your piano. Special financing is available on approved credit, and many pianos come with a warranty. Fresno Piano Gallery is the Valley's home for new Yamaha and other fine pianos, and it's located by Costco in River Park next to Costco Gas. For more information, call 226-0793. That's 226-0793, or visit FresnoPianoGallery.com.
The Central Valley Crisis Suicide Prevention Hotline is available 24 hours a day. If you or someone you know is in crisis, call now. 1-888-506-5991.
The phone lines are open at 490-5858. This is the Ray Appleton Show on News Talk 580-1059 KMJ.
The mayor and her entourage just pulled up at the KMJ studio, so they'll be popping into the studio shortly. And again, you can view it Facebook Live at the KMJ Now Facebook page. It'll be great. It'll be most enlightening. And we also have a little counter on there, too. So if there's like a whole bunch of you we can see how many are looking at us. It's kind of exciting. We like that informational stuff. This morning, we began the sale of our latest sweet deal, and I do believe there's maybe a handful left. 25 getting you $50 to spend at Zipangu Japanese restaurant. All right, it went on sale at 9 o'clock this morning at KMJNow.com. I was deemed this one for kind of a quick sellout, so have a look-see and see if there's still some there. There may be, otherwise we would have been given the high sign. Interesting demographic information here. I love, me and John Brodsky, we love generational stuff. And this is about demography and age on a worldwide basis. By the year 2030, 56 countries will have more people aged 65 than children over 15. That's like a real burden on some systems dealing with the gerontological group. It's known as a historic reversal, which happens in cycles of about 100 years. And it's, in this particular case, it looks like it's going to be irreversible. Places where the old are outnumbering kids for the first time in a long time. What began in 1995 in a single country, which was Italy, spread to 56 nations. All of these economies are Western economies as diverse as, Georgia, the country, not the state, New Zealand, and this will all happen by the year 2030. And these are the findings of an individual who spent a quarter century, 25 years, studying population patterns in the United Nations, in New York, and is now an independent researcher. And this is big-time information. A lot of this is because of the baby boomer generation. And the only real point of this story is that this is really going to drain some economies. Those economies that tend to take care of the older folks that they have. Social Security in this country, things like that. And I'll tell you more about it later. It's going to get interesting. Now, are you ready? Everybody's loaded and ready for bear here. The mayor is here. Tommy Escueda, rhymes with tomato, is here. The Public Utilities Director. You like your new title?
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tommy Escueda, rhymes with tomato.
Yeah.
Ashley Swearengin, rhymes with I don't know yet, but I'm working on it.
On the run today and, for about 8 years now.
Yeah, I got the impression you were busy today because first it was phone interview, no in-person, phone, in-person, phone.
I always appreciate the opportunity to be here with you in person. So
and people can see you, too.
I know. I get to
Facebook
see you in
Live.
person and others as well.
Yeah, but there's at least, 4 people looking at us now on Facebook Live.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Exciting TV.
You're here for a couple of reasons today. Most notably, Tommy is here because of this water situation. You had a press conference yesterday, which I was not privy to. But you did talk about miscommunications, some balls being dropped. Still, many would contend this is not really a city problem. The water is delivered to the homes in Northeast Fresno. It's fine. It's wonderful. It's groovy. It's cool. But the city is trying to help, and that's a good thing. Where are we at on this?
Okay, so that is the big question. So our press conference yesterday was to report out on the preliminary findings of the personnel investigation that's been underway, number one, and number two, to update the public on where we are on the sampling program and adjusting the water chemistry now that we know we've got defective galvanized pipe in some hundreds of homes in Northeast Fresno. So we wanted to provide that update. And so we've got the technical aspect, and then we've got the personnel and the complaint process and trying to get to the bottom of why these complaints were not being registered in our monthly reports and our annual reports, both internally as well as to the state. So what we found, I can talk about the first part, and Tommy is the expert on the second part. We still have very important interviews that need to be done with past employees who have not yet been willing to participate in the city's investigation. But we
not willing to participate?
Not to date. They have not. We have.
So there's resistance, you're saying?
Well, we've got one person in particular who's speaking with residents and speaking with members of the media, but has yet been unwilling to talk to the city's investigator. He did indicate by one email that he was willing to participate, but has not followed up on that. So our hope is to talk with this person. He's the person who was actually running the surface water treatment plant when it went online. There are a lot of missing pieces to this puzzle. We're hoping that he would come forward and provide those in our investigation. But what we know enough to be able to report to the public, and this is what we wanted to do yesterday. It is very clear that there was a consistent lack of reporting of these discolored water complaints, and that was both internally as well as externally to the state. We also know
What, if I may, what of the individual that's on administrative leave? What role did that person have in this? If you can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, we can just kind of indicate that the person that we've been trying to interview is the same position as the person that we have on administrative leave. They have the same. They were in sequence with each other. The first gentleman.
Oh, but it's two different people.
Two different people,
okay.
but they occupy the same position.
Okay.
Chief operator for the water plant.
Well,
They
that's
are the
interesting.
licensed.
All right.
They are the licensed designated person by the state.
It's where the buck stops.
It's where the buck stops for all this reporting. It's very clear in the rule that the rule's not vague or.
And this person's on
great.
administrative leave. Why?
We wanted to conduct an investigation as to why, since at least January, we haven't been reporting discolored water complaints after we have 1,200 people who are in our system, and we were submitting reports to the state that didn't have the information in there. And so we're like, all right, we're going to call a timeout, do an investigation, have this gentleman, again, for the integrity of the study, for the integrity of the investigation, just let him sit back, and then we'll go ahead and understand why.
Have either of you seen these emails that just surfaced that go back to like 2004 or whatever with past council members and mayors and all that?
Well, in fact, so I've not read through every email, but part of the investigation we were reporting on yesterday, our independent investigator has reviewed all of those emails. We've also turned them over to the press as a part of a Public Records Act request. My chief of staff has reviewed everyone. Our attorneys have. The city managers have. The city manager has. So I think there was only one email that went to Mayor Autry during this time and to City Manager Souza, and there's one email or a couple of exchanges with Councilmember Duncan, and then some residents. So it appears and correct me if I'm wrong, Tommy, because you have the email chain better than I do. There was some communication with the water department staff direct to the council office without looping in the city manager's office or the mayor's office.
Correct.
The one curious comment by Jerry Duncan at the time, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it. Maybe, one of these days he'll call us and tell us. The comment he made that he was concerned that the council not know about this issue, and we're working on some fixes. And why wouldn't, I would wonder openly, why he would not want the council to know about this issue?
I'm not sure
The
either.
only thing we do is speculate,
Right.
And there was reference at that time to a workshop that was being prepared for the public and for the council within the next 30 to 45 days. And so perhaps he was saying, let's wait until that workshop happens and then we can bring all this forward. But that workshop never happened, and it's unclear why it didn't. There's no record of a discussion to not have it. It just literally disappeared for reasons that are unclear.
Can we agree that the problem has maybe been whipped into a little bit of a frenzy that it shouldn't have been whipped into, if I can kind of bastardize the English language that way? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I'm saying it's an important problem, but it seems like it's become a heavy political issue, and people are, hanging a lot of things on it for reasons maybe other than just tainted water, is what I'm trying to say. It's gotten, in my estimation, it's gotten a little out of hand.
So I think there's two components to that. There is a legitimate frustration that is to the boiling point and running over among affected property owners who have been registering complaints for many years, and now we know those complaints were not properly documented, both internally or externally. I consider that to be legitimate frenzy. I mean, or maybe the right word is not frenzy. If I were in the shoes of these property owners, I would feel exactly the same way. But I will add
I'll
to that.
give you that one.
Okay?
They should at least have an
answer. So
answer.
that is
sure.
legitimate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But then you come along with a layer of politicking that tries to take advantage of the fact that folks are legitimately concerned, upset, feeling like they've not been helped, etc., and then trying to take advantage of that legitimate problem for your own personal and political gain. I will give you that point for sure. That is happening.
You said that better than I did. Yeah, taking advantage of the problem for their own personal political gain. That's not quite fair to the residents out there or the city.
Right.
So
our job, my team at City Hall and our job is to tune out some of those extraneous political antics and focus on solving the problem. So on January 5th, thank goodness for social media, the first complaint was posted on Nextdoor that became visible to one of our staff who happens to live in the neighborhood of an affected property owner. So she saw it, not through formal city processes. She saw it on January 5th. She, within an hour, called Tommy Escueda and passed along the complaint. Also within an hour, Councilmember Brand received an email from the same resident who had posted on social media, emailed Councilmember Brand, who then also contacted Tommy Escueda. The next day, Tommy Escueda was in the field investigating to find out what was going on. And within 3 weeks, we had a full-scale sampling program going on. It took 3 weeks to recruit people to participate in the sampling program, but the official thorough investigation was underway by January 25th. Since then, we've had over 1,200 homes asked to be tested, in many cases because they have reports of discolored water, but in some cases they don't have problems, but they want to be tested to make sure they're okay. We've hired 2 national-level experts who are evaluating what the city has been doing in reaction to this defective galvanized pipe to make sure our chemical balance is such that the experts would verify. And we know that over time, and certainly within the next, another couple months, we're seeing progress every day with this chemistry taking effect. By the end of the year, we anticipate that most of these problems will have been cleared up. And I think along the way, we are doing a postmortem as well, particularly on things that relate to reporting. For God's sake, we still have monthly reporting requirements, and the fact that we've known about this stuff since January in a very visible way, and the fact that the plant operator was not documenting it properly to the state clearly is a problem. So we are doing that postmortem, but we're trying to also just solve the problem. Instead of getting really drawn up into a lot of the other issues.
Okay, we'll take a brief time out for news right now. The mayor is here. Public Utilities Director is here. Tommy Escueda, Ashley Swearengin. This is KMJ. Here's Aaron Abatia.
Thank you, Ray. The United States women's soccer team eliminated by Sweden in the quarterfinal of the Rio Games. The match, a stunning loss for the U.S. team, which has played in the final every year since women's soccer became an Olympic sport in 1996, winning 4 gold medals.
It is all over for the U.S. women's soccer team. The Americans, pretty much the same team that won the Women's World Cup last year, are knocked out in a shootout by Sweden. It was a tight game from beginning to end. Sweden took a 1-0 lead early in the second half. America's Alex Morgan tied the game. It stayed that way through regulation and extra time, forcing the shootout. And in the shootout, Sweden prevails 4-3. The U.S. women go home without a medal. Steve Futterman, CBS News, at the Summer Olympics in Rio.
Sabrones and mineral fires burning in Monterey and Fresno counties, blowing bad air into the valley. Cassandra Meltzing is with the Valley Air District.
We're seeing spikes in ozone and spikes in particulate matter. Generally, it's a problem in the summertime. When the temperatures rise, it creates the formation of ozone. And with the wildfires occurring, they're blowing all that smoke over into our valley, and everything's just hovering above us.
Once the fires are out, we're dependent on the weather to finally push away the bad air. An online tool to see local air quality can be found on our website, kmjnow.com. The Dow off 40 points right now, NASDAQ up 1, S&P 500 losing 2. 101, plenty of sunshine in Fresno this afternoon, 70 degrees clear tonight, 104 our forecast time for tomorrow, sunny as well. 91 right now in Radio City. News on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks. I'm Aaron Abatia, News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ.
Nothing you can do, folks.
In times like these,
Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know.
there's no time to waste.
If you are running to be president, words can have tremendous consequences.
Keep it locked on the Valley's Election HQ. News Talk 580, 1059, KMJ.
Your lucky number may be 7 or 11. Mine is 8. But what about that curious number 3? What is that all about? 3 is never a crowd at this little get-together. Right now at Sleep Train, take your pick from 3 great ways to save. Choice number 1, save up to $300 on Beauty Rest and Posturepedic mattress sets. Choice number 2, get $300 in sleep essentials from Tempur-Pedic. Or behind door number 3, you'll get up to 4 years interest-free on Beauty Rest Black Hybrid. Now that is a Sleep Train luxury exclusive. Not 3, but 4 years interest-free financing. Call 1-866-780-6220 for credit costs and terms. And all the other good stuff at Sleep Train remains. Like, for example, you'll be sleeping on it as soon as tonight. Same-day delivery when you purchase by 2 in the afternoon. The Triple Choice sale is back at Sleep Train. Everywhere. Sleep Train, you know what I'm going to say. Always your ticket to a better night's sleep.
Take the smarter approach and go solar through Solar Negotiators. We aren't the contractor, but with us, you'll get more energy-saving options like home automation, LED lighting, and insulation. Do your homework and don't limit your options. Call Solar Negotiators at 844-OWN-SOLAR today.
The phone lines are open at 490-5858. This is the Ray Appleton Show.
All right, again, like Mr. Big Voice said there, the phone lines are open, 490-5858. If you have questions specific to this issue of the water in Northeast Fresno, we might be able to get them answered. What else can we add to this that the public needs to know? Is there more?
Yeah, I think there's just a couple of quick more points to update. So first of all, on Wednesday night of next week, we're doing our next community meeting. It's at 6:00 at Clovis West in the multipurpose room. We will have one of the two national experts who are evaluating our water chemistry with us, so people can ask questions of him in person, along with the EPA and the state board, the county health official, and then, of course, city staff, myself. Councilmember Brand will be there. So that's our next time to get together and update people on where we are and to answer another round of questions. And then we are expecting those experts, which, Tommy, you might want to comment on.
Yeah, we should be getting Dr. Mark Edwards has been we've been sending him our data and everything we've got from him from our investigation, and then Dr. Vernon Schnoink from University of Illinois Champaign. I just got the communication that I should have those reports tomorrow at noon as a draft. They'll be here next week. We'll review those with them. Any additional questions we need to add, and then, as the mayor indicated, they'll be available to meet with people and talk with people during our community meeting.
You know, a number of people have mentioned on every time we had a talk show about this, that they didn't have a problem until, what was it, the surface water was added to the mix or whatever. Is there any relevance to that at all?
So we've got, and that's the challenge of the
an
investigation.
Amazing winky-dink, you
Yeah,
know?
so part of it looks like coincidence because we have a number of residents, a large number of residents that have reported discolored water in that area before the water plant came on.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So we do have some evidence that
Absolutely.
problems were before.
Correct. And that's
Okay.
what the mayor pointed out earlier. As we look through our records of discolored water reports from residents, we're good from 95 to about 2004. And then 2004, they just fall off the face of the there's nothing there.
It was over.
It was over. Yeah, we're just like,
over in
how did that
terms
happen?
it was quiet.
It was
Just
very
nothing
quiet.
happened,
Very
yeah.
quiet.
That's
2011
another
they picked up
curiosity,
again.
too.
Yeah. 2011 they picked up again, not to the same level, but they picked up. But there's a window there where we just weren't getting the reports. But people have said, I've always had discolored water since I moved into the house, 91, 92, 95. Pick a year, they've always had it. So then the water plant comes on. We get some more reports, and then some folks, a number of folks are just reporting that it's last 6 months, the last year, the last 2 years. And so it's just a timing thing. It seems like when this galvanized pipe that we've identified just might start presenting itself as a problem in homes.
Some of the stories that floated through the district, and I'm sure you're aware of all of them, and it's pretty much traceable to one source. First reported death of lead poisoning in Northeast Fresno. 6 elementary schools with lead-infected water, blah, blah, blah. Respond to that. I looked. I called health department, all that, did the whole 9 yards on this reported death, because it's incumbent upon physicians to report something like that to local health authorities if somebody dies of lead poisoning. And they said it was detectable through a urinalysis, and I was told on the phone, no, you can't do it that way. It's got to be blood. So, they asked me, who you been talking to? And I said, nobody hung up. But respond to those reports.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I'd say is that on the blood level data, the Fresno County Health Department, Dave Palmerville and his team, they're the lead agency for that. And they do an amazing job. They've been with us ever since we started this, when we got going in February, right after we got our first data set back. And there is a great system in the state of California, throughout the country, on lead exposure reductions. And it's been working. If you look at their data throughout California, throughout Fresno County, lead exposure numbers for residents in the state are falling. So the trend has been what we wanted it to be. And then after we engaged them, they looked at the data in those 2 or 3 zip codes, and they said, there's just nothing here. These things look, which is different than in Flint. Flint, there was very evident spikes in those 2 areas. So on that side, we're comfortable that the county is the lead agency. They're doing a great job.
So we don't have any deaths due to lead poisoning out in that area.
Exactly. Yeah.
What about the elementary schools with the tainted water?
So the elementary schools, we did 30 samples at 6 schools. 4 of the samples came back showing the presence of lead. They were all 50%. Those 4 faucets were 50% below the action level number. which passes the test that the EPA sets out there. But we had, what's not reported is we had 26 non-detects, and then there were the 4 hits. Those were 50% below the action level standard. But in response, we did get some community response. We worked with Clovis Unified, again, another great partner on this project. And the week of August 29th, school starts the week of August 22nd. Week of August 29th, we'll go back and we'll test all those schools to give everybody a comfort level that the things are going where they're supposed to be when they use the water at the schools.
Hunky dory.
If I could just real quickly,
yeah.
because for folks who are not impacted and are just kind of tuning in every now and then, it's easy to get caught up by the headline. What is this, Flint, Michigan? So I just want to answer again for the record. There are many differences between Fresno and Flint, and they can be enumerated by Dr. Edwards, who will be here next week and can say it 100,000 times better than I can. But the big thing for a layperson to understand, like me, is this. Flint, Michigan actually has lead pipes in its delivery system. So getting the water from the source to the house, the publicly owned pipes, has the problem pipes, the lead. And we have no lead pipes in our delivery system, not in the mains, not in the laterals. There is no lead whatsoever. It's either concrete or it's plastic or PVC. So we can take that off the table, much to everyone's great relief in Fresno. Thankfully, that's one issue we don't need to wrestle with.
And the source of the contamination, again, is galvanized pipe.
Galvanized pipe and the fixtures to some extent. Exact. Those are the two sources where we're seeing the lead. The color, we're identifying that as the galvanized pipe. It's just iron rusting.
Pipe from China, Korea, from a particular era.
Right, exactly. We found that actually, again, there have been very well documented and litigated class action lawsuits on the pipe from offshore sources. The vendors were named. We went through and doing investigations. Again, the citizens in Northeast have been amazing in terms of providing photos, providing access to their homes, pipe samples. And in some of the pipe samples we got, we noticed this is exactly the pipe. Same manufacturer.
Okay. In a non-related area, Mayor, what we talked about yesterday with Steve Brandow concerning the apartments and the way he explained it, the possibility of a ruling or whatever we want to call it from you that you're pushing that would have every single apartment unit in Fresno inspected inside and out. This is going after slumlords and the like. Fill in the blanks on that. Something, it's not passing the smell test thus far. What's going on?
Well, I'll refrain from making any comments about the source and the smell of it coming out of Steve, my good friend who loves to come on the show and do his best to make everything seem so fiery. So here's the deal. We have the highest concentration of poverty of any other large city in the United States. We have clearly turned our back on many of the challenges of the building conditions in the inner city. We have today more people renting than we have people owning. And we have time after time found very significant problems with rental housing units. Now, what do we do about it? All right, we have to be balanced. We have to be reasoned. We have to put in place something that can work, that can be effectively implemented. What we're finding in other cities is that after a baseline investigation is done, which, by the way, is only for health and safety, right? Not for every little thing in the code and do you have a perfect this or perfect that, but for basic health and safety standards after units are inspected. At that point, if they're good units, they're put on a rotation. They're given incentives to be a good property owner. You don't have to get inspected again for another 5 years, or you get to self-certify or self-inspect. So we're looking at how to implement, but the basic concept is, it's probably reasonable for us to take responsibility. We're given that responsibility by state law, and we've simply not done anything with it. And I think the problem has gotten to be so obvious and so severe that we've had situations like Somerset that we've got to figure out a reasonable way to proceed on this. Now, I think I got a text message from someone yesterday saying Steve claimed I was taking away people's Fourth Amendment, I think it was, or some sort of constitutional breach. Look, there are always reasonable, thoughtful, and practical ways to go about doing what we think is important for the community. So that's why we're taking our time with this. We actually started working on this in October of last year. So we've been very methodical and making sure that we're researching.
So nothing is chiseled in stone yet.
No. In fact, there's been a very lengthy and public process involved, including we've got property owners, we've got good landlords, we've got the apartment association, we've got neighborhood residents, and we've got folks from various nonprofits who are very concerned about this issue. Everybody in the same room. You know what? We fight a lot with each other, but at the end of the day, we're trying to work to find some sort of resolution that rewards good property owners and makes it intolerable for slumlords to continue their practices in our city, because we deserve better in our community.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's reasonable. Now, I was told yesterday you needed to leave right about now. Are we still on that?
I've got a 1 o'clock back at City
Okay,
Hall.
well then we'll say this was a quick one, but thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, and if anybody has problems with their water, what do they do, Tommy?
621-8626. That's our hotline, and we are receiving those calls, following back up with the residents to fill in maybe some of the blanks, and then getting them on the sampling program.
And one more time on the number.
621-8626.
And be nice when you call.
Yes.
They're trying to help.
Yes.
Mayor, Tommy, thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
This is KMJ.
I'm Aaron Abatia in the KMJ News Center. Another case of travel-associated Zika virus confirmed in the Golden State.
Hillary Clinton grows her lead over Donald Trump in several key battleground states, according to a new poll. I'm Steve Dorsey.
This and more coming your way at the top of the hour.
It looks like the Fed has fumbled the ball again. The economy seems to be going nowhere. Of course, like with anything, there are losers and winners. With interest rates falling again, savers are the losers and borrowers are the winners. Now, unless you own a bank, the cheapest money available is a mortgage. Make the cash call at 855-875-CASH to find out what your mortgage payment would be if you refinanced with a fixed rate with an APR in the 2s. Many people are doing it, taking the maximum cash out of their homes with our crazy low interest rates and paying off all their other debt. Credit cards, personal loans, school, auto, whatever. Their accountants then deduct all the interest they pay on the new mortgage, effectively making it even cheaper. But check with your own tax preparer. Don't kick yourself for not taking a few minutes to do this now.
Make the cash call at 855-875-CASH and beat the Fed.
First Mortgage, Impact Mortgage Corp. DBA Cash Call Mortgage. One City Bowl.
Yes, just 1 minute right now at FresnoDiabetes.org.
Ray, you want to say thanks for
Thank
everybody
you
watching?
for tuning in and watching this live. And undoubtedly, we'll do it again.
Have a great weekend.
In the near future. Bye.
Bye.
You can stop the problem before it begins to affect your daily life. And it's easier than you think. It takes less than a minute to find out how. Visit
kind of a fun tool.
FresnoDiabetes.org and answer 5 questions that will tell you if you're at risk.